Today you rise from what once held you down. The past holds no grip over you anymore because you've realized that who you used to be has opened like some kind of an egg, and through that a new you has emerged, which is just a symbolic language for a sense of rebirth, which is a new understanding of who you are, what you're capable of, and who you are not. This may be the sensations and realizations you may be going through today, recognizing that you feel a little bit lighter. You may be going, whatever you are going through actually, you may be feeling that there's more understanding present, there's more lightness present, there's more clarity present, and you just feel more confident. Not because you've made yourself confident mentally with some, what people call fake confidence, but because you've started trusting more that all the dark stuff in your life didn't break you, it opened you. So actually through these old perceptions and old beliefs, that real voice was heard. Oh yes. Do you feel that, my friend? Today we're just after the Scorpio full moon. Yesterday we had a Scorpio full moon, which was a very intense one, and the energy is still present, and it will be present tomorrow and maybe in the next few days still. I will be making daily updates, as today I have 5 different energy themes for today, so you can be guided through these times with the greatest possible alignment you can experience for yourself. And I had 2 different visions for this message and one very interesting experience, something that hasn't happened before, and I want to share it with you. So, how are you feeling today, my friends? How are you feeling? I firstly want to acknowledge all of you and say big thanks to all of you for supporting my art. I'm also an artist, a painter, and I've noticed so many of you have decided to support my art, and I want to share my appreciation with you, because there's no better feeling than an artist being supported and seen, and well, finding art so valuable that you choose to buy it. So big thanks to all of you. I love you all, my friends. Well, are you ready for today's message? Because we have so much to talk about. Today you rise from what used to hold you back. Do you feel like a phoenix? Maybe you had vivid dreams this night, maybe a bit dark ones. That's what happens sometimes when you have full moons in Scorpio. Maybe you had a bit darker dreams. If that happened, it's not because something is chasing you, it's because the universe is allowing you to deal with your shadows, to deal with your fears, to acknowledge how you've responded to that scenario, because most probably in reality it would never happen. So dream state is actually our training ground for the real life. Actually, in dream state, we can train how it would be if that would actually happen in the real life. Also, the real life is another dream for higher lives that we are entering. Yes, but this is a deep stuff for some other time. Yes. So when we have maybe nightmares, or when we have this kind of dark dreams, not necessarily that you had them, but sometimes in full moons in Scorpio this may happen. When we have them, we must reflect on how we responded, so we would awaken a new understanding on how to approach something scary. Because there is no fear when there is understanding, and there is no understanding when there is only fear. So the way to resolve fear is to awaken understanding. We are only afraid of what we don't understand is a wisdom. Yeah, oh yes. So my friend, may you be wise today. May you find a new understanding. Yo. Where did this came from? The first energy theme. Let truth disrupt comfort. It builds real trust. Let truth disrupt comfort, because it builds real trust. The first vision that I've seen was a chest, a field of chest. And I was wondering, is it about strategies? Is it about, making a good plan, making the right move? But then I was introduced a bit deeper into, the story of pawns. So when you begin playing chess, when I was a kid, I've been playing a lot of chess with my father, and he always beat me. But I've recognized, okay, you need to make the first move, right? Especially if you're the first one who starts. You need to make the first move, and then you kind of observe how the other player will do his moves, right? And when we find ourselves in certain relationships, I just felt today we need to go a little bit deeper in relationships. I don't know why, but we will see where we'll get with this message. So sometimes we find ourselves in relationships where we start to feel too comfortable. You get together with that special woman or special man. You start living, this is just one example, you start living a beautiful life, and then you kind of start slowing down, start neglecting yourself, and then you become a bit lazy, and then it becomes too comfortable, and then there's no growth, there's no challenges anymore, and then whatever that other person does triggers you. Whatever you do triggers that other person. Well, that is a sign that you must disrupt the comfort. You must wake up and say, hey, this is not a life I've been visualizing when I was younger. This is not a life I wanted to live. So something I've learned in my life is that every single day I need to strive to become more, to become more expanded, to become more connected, to become more honest, to become more maybe just open-minded and open-hearted. And therefore I'm not forcing or trying to convince other person like my partner to do the same. I will be an example of this work, and my energy may inspire that other person. And that's what happened in my relationship with Maya. Like sometimes she's so passionate about something that it inspires me to be passionate about something, and so many times I'm passionate about something that she becomes inspired by it. Like one example is I'm doing these daily messages, and when we travel and I still do that, Maya is like, oh, I want to do this as well. And that's how we kind of complement one another. But it's also, the truth must disrupt the comfort. So you must do the move, right? That's why I saw the chest. You must do the move. Sometimes you think, what can be, why this relationship is like that right now? It lacks some fluidity. It lacks some depth. Well, when was the last time you've done some new moves, right? When was the last time you've moved differently? Maybe it's not one time. You must gain a momentum with it, right? Even waters can reshape rocks. Water is a very soft element, but it can reshape rocks through consistency, right? Just yesterday, I've heard this story of a mother who has, I'm not sure, 3 kids, maybe 2. But one kid very specifically was very unproductive in school, at home was very closed down, and no one knew how to approach that kid or how to help her, other. But then what happened? Mother started, she became very passionate about running. She started, she gained some groups, they started running together, she started running marathons and so on. She became so passionate, and when her daughter started seeing her mother happy, that kid started changing positively as well, became more productive in school, became more, approachable and so on. And that's how we influence the world around us. Mother didn't try to force a child into something. She became more passionate human being, and that's how things started changing, and that's how the truth disrupts the discomfort or comfort, whatever is present. You see, truth is not often just in words, it's in how we live, right? You don't preach others just through language, but actually through your lifestyle. So when you don't like how people around you are living, you start to live more wholly, more fully, and that will influence some Some will fall out of your life because they will not be aligned with your energy anymore. And some will see you as an incredible inspiration and they will follow you and follow your changes. I've experienced that so many times that I just know it's the truth. It's the truth. And that builds trust, because you know whom I trust the most in my life? Those who are doing what they're talking. I trust them the most because I know what they will say to me is real, because I see that in their lives. And people who trust me, they trust me because I am walking my talk and I am doing what I say that I will do. That is inspiring. To me, that is inspiring. So may it be a lesson for today. It's not just today, as I said to you. All these messages are initiation for the future, because time is a momentum. Energies that are coming in are just building the momentum for your life, and you can serve them, or you can be some kind of a victim of it. I want you to serve them. That's why I'm showing up every single day, to help you to be in alignment so you can serve the energies. So let truth disrupt comfort, because you're not here to be comfortable. Comfort is to recharge. Comfort is to make paintings. Comfort is to do creative work and to think deeply. But then you go out and you show up, you bring out what you've learned. You know, I can build or I can paint paintings in my studio, but then I need to show them to the world. This is not comfortable, right? I need to show up and talk to you. This is not comfortable. This is discomfortable. I need to break the comfort by doing something new. Now, once again, we are reshaping ourselves and building deeper trust. Also, you will not trust me if you will watch maybe one of my videos. But if you see I'm showing up every single day and the message is only getting deeper and better, you will notice, oh, this guy is doing something right. And therefore you may see, oh, if I would do something deeper and better every single day, something right may happen to me as well. And people will start respecting that in you as well. This is powerful, but it goes way deeper. It goes way deeper because this journey becomes very playful and fluid. Yes, I'm not here to say to you your life should be very strict and rigid. No, your life should be fluid, playful, but it should have discipline, focus, and clarity. So we may have a play between being spontaneous and disciplined. I've noticed as an artist that this must be balanced, discipline and spontaneity. When discipline doesn't work, when it becomes too rigid, it means we need to let go and be free. But when being free becomes too stagnant, we must discipline and create plans. This is the play. Aristotle called it the golden mean, a place in between we need to find. This is the journey we need to walk. Yeah. The second theme is you gain more by pausing than by pushing today. Strategic patience over impulsive action. Well, due to this strong, intense energies, as I said yesterday, when they're not channeled into something that fulfills us, they may make us feel a little bit judgmental, a little bit like we want to compete with others, or we become a bit, what's the best word? We start to, we just start to compare ourselves with others. But when they're channeled into something that fulfills us, whatever fulfill you, whatever is the idea that fulfill you, when you channel all your energies into it, like you focus to it, you ask yourself, how can I do something about it? And then you do something about it. And when you've done something about it, you reflect how you've done it. Well, then you will not be so focused on what other people are doing or what's happening around you. You will actually become a magnet for abundance and great things that will find you. Well, once again, I've experienced this so many times that I know this is the truth. There was the second picture that I've seen in my mind. Guess what it was? It was a dolphin swimming in the ocean. Yeah, and I was like, why a dolphin? But dolphins are very intelligent animals. They play, they move, they kind of move strategically, but they move so gracefully that you will think they're guided by God. And this is a sign how your goal to move through life should be. To move gracefully, but have plans. Don't be too strict with plans, because you may be robbed by joy, but don't just follow joy, because you will be robbed by achieving your goals, right? So again, a game of play. That's why I just can't say to you do exactly this and this and that, because each of us will discover it very uniquely. So the point is that you know it's not wrong if you quit with plans, and it's not wrong if you quit with being too free, right? It's nothing wrong if you lose discipline, and it's nothing wrong if you lose spontaneity. This is a dance, right? You need to know that this is a dance, and today's energies are reminding you you gain more by pausing than by pushing. So what does it mean? You may find yourself receiving a triggering email. You may find yourself receiving a triggering message. You may be in a situation where you don't know what to do. Well, ask yourself what a playful me would do in this situation. There's a thing I call constructive distraction. Constructive distraction. This is a powerful thing. So listen up. Listen up. Sometimes I find myself in a situation where I don't know what to do. I may be sitting in my studio and thinking what will be my next painting. And I just don't come up with a solution, because you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. So something that I found out in my life is that I actually need to distract myself from the problem, not by doing something distractful, but actually doing something that makes me more present and playful. So sometimes I go for a walk, sometimes I go and do a workout, sometimes I go for a run, or sometimes I just talk with someone about completely different things than what I wanted to figure out. And then when I'm doing something else that becomes playful and present, like I may go for a walk or a run, and I become so involved with the nature and the sound of birds and trees and flowers and butterflies sometimes, or sunset or sunrise or things like that. I become so present with it that inspiration hits me for the new painting. It happened to me so many times before that once again I know this is the truth. That's why constructive distraction works, because if you're too involved into trying to solve something, you will never solve it, because your neurocortex, your thinking brain, is overactive, overanalyzing and using only what you know. But sometimes you don't figure out the answer by only thinking about what you know. There's the access to more information. We call it creativity and imagination. You can't access creativity and imagination in a stressful state, which means you need to learn to calm down your thinking brain, which means that sometimes you need to distract yourself from what you've been doing and, well, ease up a little bit. Ease up. Take off the backpack of weights you've been carrying, like you did maybe yesterday with the full moon. You've let go of the weights and do something else, and you will notice that you will relax. You will relax, especially if you do something playful, not something like maybe even playing video games. Even movies sometimes may help, but you will see every time you need that, something else may work for you. That is a tricky part of life, but that's how it is. Through time, you will learn how to navigate these kind of things. So you may recognize that what you truly need at those moments is to feel safe, because maybe you've been triggered by something, a heavy email, a heavy message, whatever it is, and you think you're not safe, and then out of this triggering state you try to figure it out. Well, do something else, and you will notice it's not the end of the world. It's just something small you need to be a part of, you need to figure out, and when you will figure it out, you will feel accomplished, which is also great. That leads us to the third theme, that a new lens on self-worth and value is awakening inside of you. Do you feel that? A new lens of self-worth and value is awakening. Your worth is not proven by productivity, but by presence and connection. That is deep, my friend, because no one cares how much you've done if you feel completely all over the place and disconnected from the world, right? No one cares what you've done if you look unhappy and disconnected. So the sense of worth, and so people can value you, comes from how present you are and how connected you are. And you can't fake connection. When you communicate with others, they will feel your connection with them when you can authentically, deeply, genuinely listen to them, right? It's also visible in your body language. Like if a person is talking to you and you're constantly like this and thinking about something, you are not connected. So people can't respect you like that, right? So what this message today is really maybe symbolizing or reminding us is that we need to get beyond this idea that our self-worth comes out of how productive we are, how much we've achieved, but actually how present we are and how connected we are, how in tune we can be with other people, how in tune we can be with what we're doing, how in tune we can be with ourselves and the life itself, the universe or God. Not preaching it, but living it. This is a big difference, because in your actions, in your words, in your body language, it will always be reflected, because energy never lies, right? And people, even if they don't know, they feel energy, they hear energy, they sense energy. Energy never lies. So when you show up as connected individual, you will also feel worthy, because you know you're already worthy. Because you are alive. Life moves through you. You're worthy of life. God sees something in you. So you can be here today, right? Don't be too focused on what people think about you. Don't be too focused on how they describe you, because they only can describe you the way they understand themselves. So that's why you shouldn't focus too much on the words of others. Rather focus on the sense of connection you feel within you, and then bring that connection to others. Connect with others so deeply that you will be able to feel past the judgment, past the illusion of separation, past of what is wrong in them. You will be able to feel and see in them what you feel and see in you, and you will be able to bring that out. That's when people start opening up to you. That's when people start coming to you and say, hey, I'm just going through something. And you will be, why are you sharing this with me? And that person will say, well, because I feel safe with you. Well, you've achieved a great work. What people truly crave is to feel safe in the company of others. Ask yourself, when you feel the best, when you feel safe with others, why people open up to you? Because they feel safe with you. There's something about the energy of connection, right? When you're connected with life, even animals are not so afraid of you anymore, because they feel safe with you. They are not threatened. You're not there to do whatever. You're just there to connect, right? So this is a big thing, a new lens on self-worth and value. So maybe once again a dolphin is here to remind us to be connected with environment. In order to swim the waters, you kind of move with water. You move it and you kind of find a stream. It's hard to swim against the stream, but when you find a stream, it helps you, right? When you find a stream of connection, it's hard to put this into words, but when it happens. When it happens, you are moving with it. In a conversation, when there's no stream, it's like you're trying to find the next word, but when there's the stream, it's just like something would be speaking through you. When you can't find a stream, it means you're too much in your mind, you're too much in your ego. So you're not listening, you're not feeling, you're too much in what they think about me, how they will respond to me, or things like that. So the message here is, don't be too focused on yourself, focus on connection, Focus on connection, focus on depth. This is one thing about this time and also full moon. And we've talked about the planet Mercury, we've talked about Venus and Pluto, and we've talked about so much in previous videos. This is a time of great depth. So pay attention to connection. In any conversation, focus on what connects you to. There's always something you have in common with any person. If nothing else, what you have in common is that you both came out of a woman. If nothing else, that's something you have in common, but I don't know how much it's valuable here or in certain situations, but it's very important to know. The fourth theme for today: you don't need to shrink to be safe. You're allowed to be seen. This is another important lesson for today: healing the fear of being seen. Many of you are actually healing the fear of being seen right now. Just a few days ago, a friend of mine said to me, you know, I'm still so afraid of receiving gifts. And it just happens, like we think we don't deserve them and we shrink ourselves. We think we shouldn't be gifted because we are not so good, or we are not so valuable, or we are not so special. Why are you gifting me? I'm not so special, or things like that. Who said that to you, my friend? Who said that to you? You're not so special. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're not so valuable. Yes, you are. You've been through a lot. You are special, my friend. I'm not here to say this to make you more superior, to walk around like, hey, I'm special now. No, I'm just saying, see in you what God sees in you. See in you what life sees in you. Your heart would stop beating if there would be no reason for beating, right? Your brain would stop working if there would be no reason for brain to work. Just think about this for a moment. Well, we are getting deep here, but it's real. So when someone gives you a gift, it's because they see something in you you don't see in you. When someone gives you something, it's because they value your presence. They don't value maybe your mental troubles you're going through because they don't even know about it, but they value something about you. It's just a reminder that there is many valuable things about you, even though if most of your days you spend in some mental thinking patterns that are usually negative and dark. Well, also think about how much you're a gift to someone, because it will give you a new perspective. There was the third experience that I had today in the morning. You know, in the morning I sit down, I meditate, and I ask for guidance for a message. So I've seen a chest, I've seen a dolphin, and then the third thing was not a vision, it was actually some kind of an experience. When I took a breath, I just felt a very fresh breath, like I would be at the top of the mountain. And it never happened to me before. Like I was sitting in a room where I meditate like every single day, but suddenly there was a fresh air, like I would be at the top of the mountain. It felt light, it felt pure, it felt clean and clear, and you know, I'm not hiking much, but when I do, this is my favorite thing about hiking. Being at the top, firstly looking down and seeing how small we are, and then having that fresh air and just knowing, you know, all these rocks around me, they don't care about these human problems. Maybe I shouldn't care about these human problems for a moment as well. And then I gain a new perspective and I see it's so small. And all day long I've been living in my mind trying to figure it out. So this was a message to me. You see, maybe what you think that is a big problem in your life is actually a very small thing compared to all the existence. And sometimes you need to remind yourself that you are part of this existence, you're part of the whole, and therefore wholeness moves through you and helps you resolve things when you're not so, you know, strict or so locked in them. That's why hiking is so powerful. Therefore, when you move, it's just literally you move above the collective consciousness and suddenly you see who you really are. Maybe that's a reminder, go somewhere above where you spend most of your time. and you will notice that you will see things differently. Have a journaling block with you because you will see things differently. But hike there, don't go by car. It still works, but when you hike there, you also purify your body through sweating. So your brain will be more energized because there will be more oxygen and blood flow going through the brain, and it will cleanse the toxic particles out of it. So you will be able to think clearly, and therefore neurons will be able to connect more easily. So thought streams will be more clear and you will have more clarity. That's what it means. Yeah. So my friend, you don't need to shrink to be seen. You're allowed to be seen. It's also a message for those of you who are working on showing up, who are working on presenting yourself to the world and sharing your knowledge or information or passions with the world. You're allowed to be seen. There is no police on self-worth. Like, hey, you're not worthy, what are you doing? Those are just people's judgments. Like, you can show up, do your thing, and learn from your own behavior, right? You can do that. Don't do something too stupid, like hurting someone, but do something that will be scary but rewarding. Yes, maybe that's a good message. It's also connected to climbing the mountains. It is a bit scary sometimes, but it's rewarding. And the fifth theme that I want to share with you today, let go of the plan, embrace the process. Clarity will come. Not always, but right now. Maybe you've been very strict with something. This is again, we are returning to the chess, to the play of chess where we have pawns. You know, when you come to the point where you're moving the queen, or, you know, all these more valuable players, you become very strategic. But usually at the beginning, you just make the first move, right? This is the message for you today. Doesn't matter where you are in your life situation, just do the first move. You know, this YouTube channel, you know how many times I'm just experimenting. In the past, I've been actually trying to do some courses with how to make a better YouTube channel, how to grow on YouTube, but it felt so boring that I said I will figure it out on my own, and then I did, by trying and experimenting, and sometimes I destroy it, sometimes I build it, but I've noticed that is a game of life. We destroy it, but then we build on ashes, right? We build on ashes, and what we've learned in this kind of experience is timeless. It will never leave us. It gets imprinted in the soul because it's not something you've learned through a book. It's something you've learned through pain, and pain is the best teacher because it just stays with you. So then you turn pain into process and you build on the foundation of the lesson. So this is powerful, my friend. That's why you shouldn't be afraid of the pain. That's why actually your brain knows only pain and pleasure, right? People love to seek pleasure without realizing that pleasure receptors get balanced by pain. Here's a proof of that. If you only seek pleasure and avoid pain, it will be harder and harder and harder to feel pleasure, right? You can start with eating chocolate. Soon it will not be enough by just one piece of chocolate. You will need more. It's same with drugs. You will need more and more and more and more until more is not enough because you've put pain out of the picture. Your brain needs both. That's how the growth happens. That's why the growth always happens firstly through pain, and then you experience pleasure. This is powerful stuff. In alchemy, there are 3 phases you will go through when you go through growth. Dark night of the soul, where you experience some kind of destruction or some kind of stagnation. Then the second phase is the white phase, which is purification. You will need to talk. You will need to go through troubling relationships and resolve them. You will need to change a job and recognize why that job was so however it was. You will need to go through limiting beliefs and reprogram them. You will need to go through forgiveness and all of that. This is purification. But through purification, you will come across who you really are and how you really want to live your life, and what are really your greatest values you want to strive towards, and what are the real goals you want to set to yourself. This is again pain, but you will feel driven for it because you will know how life feels without being driven for it, right? So if you find yourself in the dark night of the soul, that's in front of you. You will need to face with the pain, but that's when you will experience pleasure. Whoa, yes. And and then there's the third phase, which is crystallization, the red phase, where you start actually shaping your talents, you start shaping your skills, you start getting better at what you're doing, and suddenly people around you are like, whoa, you really changed. What happened? And you will be like, well, quite a lot. So are you ready to hear it? Most people are not even ready to hear it, right? So the right people will come to you. When you are in the phase of crystallization, people will be attracted to you. You become a magnet for the right people, for the right souls. That is powerful, my friend. So pain and pleasure must be balanced. If you would love to experience more pleasure in your life, see what pain you've been avoiding and go into it. Make some plans, some strategies, do first moves, go into it. And you will see doing it will bring you pleasure. Yes. And then you will also feel like you deserve a desert. You deserve some good food. You deserve some winding down, some rest. Yeah, you deserve it. Always balance these two forces, because in between is what we experience harmony. In between. That's why in all ancient practices, doesn't matter if you go into Taoism, Buddhism, Christianity, even Jesus said, follow me and carry your cross, right? Follow me means find that purity that I'm teaching and follow it. Carry your cross, yes. You will meet a lot of pain, a lot of troubles, and your past will be chasing you. And on that journey of purifying yourself and becoming more God-like, you will need to go through forgiveness and letting go and exposure therapy, where you will need to expose yourself to what you've been avoiding and then learn from all these sensations with more presence. Like, you know, when you go to a meeting you've been avoiding for such a long time, it will trigger you and you will feel like you're not capable of that. But then you go there, you expose yourself to it, and you just try to be a little bit more present, a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more aware and connected, and you will see it will go differently than before when you've been just stuck in fear. Yeah, so, well, maybe that's it for today. We are just becoming longer with these messages, but there's so much of information that is coming through, and I feel it's very needed. It's very needed, because something I've learned in my life is that this journey is not an easy journey, and we humans are very complex beings, but there is something inside of us that is navigating us, and we need to be in touch with it. And through these messages, I hope I can help you to get more in touch with that spark of yours that is not avoiding pain and is not chasing pleasure, but is standing in truth and is constantly trying to follow it in any moment that is there, in any conversation that is there, in any experience that you go through, because it knows every time you move from this spark, from your heart, instead of your ego and fear, it expands, it gets bigger inside of you, and suddenly you become the spark and you say, oh, remember these days when I was living so much in my ego? Oh yeah, so long time ago, good memories, but I'm so happy for where I am today. Yes, oh, this may happen. One day you will experience that. Maybe you're already there. Congratulations. Congratulations, my friend. I will leave it here. I hope you found great value today. Big thanks once again to all of you for choosing to support my art in our store, AttractPassion.com, or the link in the description of this video. I truly appreciate you. I'm creating art that is like symbols that can remind us of what truly matters. So, well, sometimes I can't put things into words, so I put them on the canvas. Actually, that's how I've started, and then I've started speaking. But doing art is very sacred work that I love a lot, and I'm happy that you find it valuable, truly. Also, join us on our Patreon page for more exclusive content. The link is also in the description of this video. Until next time, one love.